This is Dr. Sharon Pepukayi, Superintendent of Talbot County Public Schools with Pep Talk. So we are here this morning. March is Women's History Month. And so for my podcast this month, I'm focusing on a female in our community who's made a significant impact on others, but also wants to share how that impact can be moving forward with others. So I have with me Dr. Judith Gieske, pediatrician for over 30 years here in the Talbot County area. So, Dr. Gieske, as a district, we're focused on here in Talbot County Public Schools ensuring that our students graduate college and career ready. You had a long career as a successful pediatrician, but did you know what you wanted to be where you were in grade school?
I did know. Events in my family during public middle school in Lexington, Massachusetts, changed me. My loving mom was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. She seemed to get weaker month by month. I became more serious.
As a result of her getting sick, that was what made you become a doctor because of that?
Well, I'll explain it to you. Before I finished public high school, there were 5 Porter siblings. We all looked after my mom. We all worried. I was determined to answer the hard question, why can't these dedicated, brilliant Boston doctors make her better? I sat in on some of her treatments, seeing intense medical care through a very personal lens. I was absorbing. I was seeing myself walking in the shoes of her physicians. I feel I was lucky to have had a head start, a peek at what a healthcare career would entail. I was on my way and inspired. I got a job at a Boston hospital during high school summer, working in a kidney transplant research lab. Again, inspired.
So I'm listening to that and I'm thinking your age. I mean, that's young to, number one, see that, think that, and then you're also a student in school and all that comes with the social. And I think about our kids now in our district. I mean, there's a lot of pressures, a lot of pressures. There's sports, there's social media, there's friends, and then, a student's own family challenges that they're seeing. A mom or dad gets sick, a sibling. And so I can imagine that was a lot at that time. So then when and why did you decide to then specialize in pediatrics? Because you were working, you said, with kidney transplant.
I chose pediatrics as my specialty simply because I loved helping kids. I always did, still do, always will. I understand kids. It's just in my nature.
And so seeing all of that and being drawn and having the passion to work with kids, since it is Women's History Month, we know that there are lots of careers to work with kids, but specific to healthcare, what careers are open for women in healthcare?
Well, the game has changed. There are more women medical students than men, and nurses can be male or female. Every young woman today should feel that all the doors are wide open. There's no longer high school courses for boys only. I wasn't allowed to take physics in 1958 because it was a boys' course, and I took home ec in its place. That was back in the 50s, yes, and I had a disadvantage being a woman. But I chose to fight and learned to never take no for an answer.
Well, wow. Well, good for you. High five there. And so just listening to that, boys only in physics class. And I know I took home ec as well when I was in high school, but it was co-ed then. And so taking those classes, were there any teachers? Because I know you probably wanted to take physics. You took home ec. Were there particular teachers or classes that helped shape your future in the career that you chose?
Yes, I had a 5th grade history teacher in public school who encouraged me, inspired me to learn with curiosity. His exact words were, "Judy, you need to turn on your brain. Too much cheerleading, too many boys, you're not paying attention." I didn't even like history, but I loved him and I listened. A mentor can be key. We know this locally from the Talbot mentors and BAM. It's important, believe me.
Absolutely. I think mentoring and having adults out there to wrap their arms around our students to make sure they're on the right path, a thought partner, just somebody to listen to. And so you knew right away that there was somebody that you liked being in the class, and so that took off into what you wanted to do. So for Talbot County here and the students we have, and we do have students that are being mentored, what do you think we can do as a school district that can provide students experiences that they may not even know about?
That's a very important question. Local students need to be enlightened about careers in healthcare. I had an interesting second career after I retired from my local pediatric practice. I was lucky enough to be on the admissions committee at Johns Hopkins Medical School, choosing which students were admitted to the school. I was amazed at how many of the 7,000 applicants each year had a story to tell about a personal medical emergency, cancer in the family, loss of a family member that touched them deeply, or had a healthcare worker in the family. Each of these personal stories inspired them to start a medical career. And you've heard my story. We all had a head start. But let's not talk about me. The reason I'm here today is you. What about you? You who I've seen on the soccer field, you who I see at the skating rink and at the YMCA, you who've maybe not thought much about a medical career. Every one of you has a reserve of personal power, and it's time to tap it. Is this the time to be turned on to a medical career? I'd like to try. We have an idea for you. Our local school system is dreaming about joining forces with the hospital, public health, local volunteer organizations, and wants to offer all middle school students a chance to experience the practice of medicine and use of medical technology available in our own community. I think all middle school kids should see what's involved in hospital care, practicing psychology, treating mental health, working in medical technology or pharmacy or hospice, physical therapy, nutrition, sports medicine, being an EMT, working in medical records, medical ethics, and many other specialties. We're hoping to start a program in the middle school with some of the science classes demonstrating healthcare, starting a vibrant school health club, offering shadowing experience at the hospital, giving students medical mentors, and paying summer jobs in healthcare. Hopefully, you'll hear more about this soon.
Well, thank you. So it sounds like you really had an extensive list of experiences. I mean, serving on the board there and listening to all of those stories. And I always say everyone has a story to share. And going back to the mentors, it's important that the mentors are listening to those stories. And you just listed a long list of different careers in the healthcare field. We here at Talbot County have two pathways. We have certified nursing assistants, and we have biomedical pathways that our students currently are. And earlier today was talking to Ms. Werner, who works with our CTE programming, on programs we've had in the past that we want to revitalize, like medical detective class, and giving students those hands-on experience. Bringing it back to women, though, I think it's important to know that women can do a lot of these things that, when you were saying, once could not. And so I want to thank you for sharing that. So what is the one most important piece of advice would you give to our young female students who might be considering a career in healthcare?
I have a bit more advice for all students, young men as well as women. First, enjoy being a kid with your friends and family, your sports, your music, your hobbies. Cherish your freedom and all the time you have to explore. But start to give some thought to your future while you're flying through some of the best years of your life. Think about what will be your passion. Give yourself time to explore and keep an open mind. Fill your youthful time with experiences that might lead you down an exciting path. Stay curious. A career, hopefully one where you're following your passion, is much more than a job. A career in healthcare is an intellectual and spiritual experience and can give you a lifetime of joy and fulfillment. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing that advice. And just to recap, enjoy being a kid. I love that. Cherish your freedom. think about your future, have an open mind, and stay curious. And I think for our students and everyone listening, that's great advice from Dr. Judith Gieske, a well, successful, and I go around and everyone seems to know you, pediatrician of over 30 years. And I just want to thank you for stopping by and sharing a little bit about what you did, what we can do as a school system for our students here. And I want to thank you.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Sharon Pepukayi, Superintendent of Talbot County Public Schools with Pep Talk.